Abu Dhabi, a circuit that has hosted the RPL finale for what is now the third straight season. Welcome along. The championships have already been wrapped up, and now the battles are for the remaining spots. A ton of the drivers are either not here on loan or wrapping up their final race with their current teams/academies before heading off elsewhere for Season 10. This circuit contains so much legacy, whether there is a championship battle or not. Jack Miles won this race last season, took win number 2 last week after post-race penalties, and in the stewards office was also under the lights, just like this one's going to be. The question will now become, does he go back-to-back? I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. We're glad to have you all join us for a stunning event, as always, right after F1 Esports, so we're hoping a ton of you are here. Alongside me in the commentary booth tonight, once again, Owen 37. Glad to have you calling the race once again with me here.
Hello! Yes, Abu Dhabi is a marvelous little circuit. However, in real life, it does not portray some marvelous racing. However, on the game, it is a completely different story. I'm very excited to see the wheel-to-wheel action, especially the last sector. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's kind of like France, Sochi. We could say the same thing about those circuits. They don't, maybe Portimao, they don't race as well in real life, but they race a lot better in the game. So much. Chat, good to have you in here. Welcome along, Invade. There's 6 of you as well watching. How about get the numbers up, you know? I mean, we have a chance to put on a stellar performance. A lot of big storylines, and with that being said, Leon Miner needs an invite. He's one of our storylines. Let's start going over them. So, we've got Mali with a qualifying ban. That was from penalty points accumulated in previous rounds. Red Fire, I believe the same thing could be said for him. He's got a qualifying ban too. And there are 2 big drivers you do not see in this race today. F1 Tier 1 champion Reese Dainty, I think the first champion, based on penalty points at least, to get a qualifying ban. As well as Boss Cookie for AlphaTauri. Or sorry, not a qualifying ban, a race ban, excuse me, for Reese. I'll correct myself now before being told about it later. And Cookie with a race ban as well for AlphaTauri, the Red Bull team principal. That is why we see, as we start off with our laps, Florian in a Red Bull, the Chiller in a Red Bull this early. The Chiller is going to be in a Red Bull next season, but he's just kind of in it now for prep for next season. With that said, Mali in his Alpine return as well. Lennon with start number 2 in Tier 1. He's been great. He won Tier 2 yesterday. In fact, might lose a Tier 2 win if the steward's office says otherwise, to none other than the guy we're on board with right now, Florian, who was second in an Aston Martin. A lot of backlash, reasonably so, for the way he left Ferrari, as well as the fact that his racing with Groggers/Racecraft in Tier 2 has not been great. But, you know what? The consistency is back. He put on a nice race, and hopefully we see the same thing this time around with him. Also, we have Cam's return. He has not been in an RPL race since Italy round 14. He was at Alfa Romeo for that one. His only podium came in Zandvoort. Leon in the AlphaTauri on loan. We also have Florian and Red Bull on loan. Bourbon last race with the Mercedes Academy before he goes over to Alpine. Jacob comes back next week. This is the first race without his race ban. Red Fire's last race with McLaren. TB's last race with Alpine. And lastly, of the loans, with, by the way, Wavy's second start returning. Lastly, with the loans and the lineups, we have AMS Knights, familiar face in here. Depth Knights, as some of you may know him from the Tier 2 Japan race. That was the first ever race in RPL I commentated. That was 4 months ago. 4 months later, back in his seat, in for Alfa Romeo tonight. And one last thing before I let Owen take it away, which he'll talk about in a moment. No week break as we head to the new season next week. It is a 2-week break, though, for Christmas and New Year's.
This is correct. The calendars have just been released. Hopefully there's no issues with them. If there is any issues, I'm sure I'll be told with immediate effect. But yes, we're straight back into the action immediately next week. So today, with all these drivers switching doodles, could be a little inkling, especially with the Chiller and the Red Bull, on what to expect for next season. Mortius Korsman possibly being up in pole position as well. But yes, for the Christmas and New Year's break, we decided it is pointless if we do the 1 week break at this moment in time, as well, then we'd have about a week of racing and then another 2 week break. So we decided just to go straight back in, and I'm pretty sure most of the drivers would want that anyway. And then obviously for the Christmas and New Year's break, we have a little 2 weeks, so people can spend time with their family and take a break from the league, as the Schiller goes fastest. Interesting.
There you go for Red Bull. He's won this race before, or sorry, been on pole in this race before, season 1. That was for Ferrari. 9 seasons later, looking to do the same thing. Hello, Luke. Hello, Invade. Good to see you all in chat. Get us your predictions. We've got Red Fire with a qualifying ban, Molly with a qualifying ban, Lewis Piper on loan. So, and that one was a late one, so that means we will have only one driver knocked out based on pure pace. Owen, it seems like from past history, you're alright with the circuit. I don't know fully your honest opinion, but we have, TFT and Barney completing a lap. I thought we were going to get one starting a lap. Give me your thoughts on the circuit throughout time on RPL and what your history is like around it. What do you think of it? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it?
Well, obviously, in the recent games, the track has been sort of fixed. Obviously, this little chicane that it was in the first sector is gone, thankfully. Horrendous sets of corners, obviously very slow and boring. But no, I actually quite enjoy the circuit. I had a bad experience with it a few seasons ago in Tier 2. I remember me and Groggers from Battling, and then Chris Bay, as everyone will remember, the infamous man, got involved, and there was collisions. So that's a bad memory on the circuit. I don't really have many vivid memories of the circuit. I just remember driving it and enjoying it. Especially the new last sector with all the opened up corners is a lot more smooth, and it's quite fun on the wheel as well with all the long corners in the last sector. So I quite enjoy this little circuit, and a quick shout out to my boy Kine, who I see is watching the Twitch. We better be watching the Survivor Series tonight, X, and yeah, I very like this circuit. It's very good.
Absolutely. Since you like the circuit, how about you go on board with AMS Nights with me? We'll talk about this. I'll switch it over to you halfway through. He's coming through turn 6, turn 7, the chicane, where Verstappen and Hamilton made contact on lap 1 of 2021. And in fact, that corner is going to be one for overtaking and rejoins a lot during this race. Not only is that going to be the case, but this DRS straight as well. We had to turn 9. You said this corner's opened up. It's resurfaced. You don't have the chicane anymore. A lot of times I've seen drivers lose it in that corner, and the same could very well happen tonight, as we had to 10, 11, and 12, another tricky section for track limits.
Yes, also very easy to lose the rear end of this. This particular corner has just gone through there. The rear end, the Latifi corner, the rear end can step out quite easily if you push too hard into the final corner, or into that corner, sorry. And then the final 2 corners, obviously, either the second last one is easy flat. And the final corner is quite actually a tricky corner sometimes on that corner exit, because you think you've got more grip than you do, and you can end up spinning it. But MS Knights with a brilliant lap there to slot himself at the P6.
Very nicely done. You got 11 drivers who have completed a lap thus far. The next one across the line to start the lap will be Cam, the teammate there of AMS Knights. Oh, my mic is a little
confident.
Messed up. Yeah. My mic is a little messed up. Let me fix that. There we go. We should be fine now. I heard a little bit of staticness. Apologies on that one. Either way, turn 1, turn 2, another tricky section in terms of the circuit. A place you could lose the car, a place you could be forced off, a place you could end up battling your competitor, let alone track limits. Turn 5, Verstappen and Hamilton. Another corner like that. Cam losing the rear a little bit now. He's going to apply the DRS, shift up the gears, and drain that battery. Drain, baby, drain. That's what it's going to be for him down the straight. Up to 200 miles per hour. Heading to the chicane. And this chicane is going to be one where we see tons of battles into. Tons of late braking. We just finished up with F1 Esports. Let's talk slightly about that for just a moment. This car, the Alfa Romeo, you're getting a slipstream now, won in F1 Esports with Thomas Ronhart earlier today. Borbin goes third while we just spoke about that. Yeah, won in F1 Esports here just a moment ago. A lot of our drivers like to tune into that. Lack of promotion. It's nice to see the event, I must say, go on. No doubt about it. It's nice to, I guess you could say, get things underway finally. And it's nice that they're at land, but there was a lot of issues that they didn't talk about that happened prior, and I don't think they were going to talk about anyway. But what did you think of today and just in general the weekend with it, with what was going on? Lack of promotion, no doubt about it. My final words on that.
Well, I didn't even know about it until the other day when I just scrolled on Twitter and I saw everyone saying how this Maldives meme is just not funny. We knew they're going to Sweden this. And I was like, okay, who's going to Sweden? And then I did some research and saw, oh, F1 esports, interesting. And yeah, the F1, I didn't see it on any of the F1 social channels. You know, you think they'd advertise this, you know, it's supposed to be their big, they try and connect the gaming community with F1. No advertising at all about it. However, I was briefly watching the race today while I was trying to work on the getting the calendars out for everybody. And seeing Thomas Ronhar win does put a smile on my face, seeing him put all the haters to bed. So
Yes,
I'm very happy for him. And it's good on him. It's nice to see.
I agree. Josh in the Ferrari now, coming through turn 1, now turn 2. A very tricky section indeed. I've seen so many DNFs happen in that section, let alone a tricky section we saw in real life, Formula 1 practice, was the final corner. And a lot of drivers lost it in that area with the rear. Jack Miles for Ferrari goes fastest, and it looks like Josh has backed off here on that lap. Yeah, a lot of drivers lost it at turn 16, the final corner, and they also lost it at turn number 3 and 2. Where that seemed like a tricky section in practice. In fact, Sainz lost it there too in real life. Must be said, one to watch out for. But yeah, as you noted and reacted to, Jack Miles fastest.
It's nice to see that beautiful Ferrari livery on the top.
Yeah.
You probably talked about it adamantly in the Brazil Tier 2 race, but I absolutely adore this livery in the Ferrari.
I think when you look at a proper throwback and you want to talk about special liveries, there's something about this livery that does it differently for me. And, you know, I love always seeing the Ferrari red colors, you know, the black added on with it, sometimes the white in previous years, yellow as well with it, but the added white, there's just something about it that makes it look so nice and so beautiful. Jack Miles, by the way, pole in this race last season, trying to go for a 5th consecutive season with a pole. He's had 1 pole the last 4 seasons, and in fact would have the record if he gets a 5th consecutive pole today, with consecutive seasons with a pole, let alone seasons I think with a pole as well. I'll double check on that second one, but we got ads on a lap. While I double check that, how about you talk us through this one, turn 6 and 7?
Here we go, lads, Mercedes. I'd say the main threat against Dara, the Chiller and Jack for pole position would be adds the Mercedes. An absolutely rapid driver he is, and into the second sector he has a 52.7 split. He's up by 2.4 seconds, which isn't hard considering his lap initially was pretty horrible. A little bit of oversteer on the exit of the long hairpin there, and then into the final sector, the little 90 degrees that have been opened up a little bit to make them more smooth. And he just on the middle of the curb there, nice touching the apex on the exit of the corner, not using all the available runoff he can. He's not going to push too hard for this one. It's only Q1. And into the final corner, absolutely phenomenal looking final sector there. And into P3, ahead of his team at Midco. Very nice.
With drivers such as Reese, Cryptic, and I'd even add Scyther once again not here today. You have Cryptic claiming P3 in the championship officially, Scyther P2 holding on somehow after missing half the season, which is just crazy to think about. This race is wide open. Qualifying session is wide open. And Ads, you spoke about those corners being wide open. He wants to take the previous circuit for right now. Luckily, he was by himself, so he could do that legally. Just to clarify, by the way, on the Jack Miles stat, yeah, so if he were to get pole, he would have the joint record with Luke, DeChiller, and Maxwell for most seasons with a pole. He would not have the record by himself, but he would have the record by himself for most consecutive seasons with a pole if he were to get it today. He doesn't have a pole so far. Cam wiggles out of the final corner. And yeah, give me your thoughts on that, and then the thoughts on Cam's lap here as we start this one.
Well, I think this is Jack's top opportunity of the season again at Abu Dhabi, the last race of the season, can do it again. To finally get that pole this season, to break that record that he currently shares with Maxwell, I believe. Cam, I don't know, he's got a very squirrely rear end there in this Alfa Romeo, but it seems to be working for him. But yeah, currently leading by 1/10 on De Chiller, who Hunted is saying has been picking himself up, so that he needs to win. But I think there's going to be a brilliant fight for pole position between the top six, who are currently in the top six in the session. But Cam, he'll just be looking to try and get into Q3, I reckon, this session, this qualifying session. At the moment, he should be safely through into Q1 with all the quali bans and such. But obviously, you just want to get that. And obviously, with Leon and the AlphaTauri, you're obviously going to beat him. But it seems like he's backed off in the slap, has he? Or is it just looks a bit slow, really? He's not really pushing to the limit. As the Ferrari there, Josh gets out of the road. But yeah, he still seemed to be on the limit of the slap. I'll probably eat my words when he crosses the line and it goes like top 5, but we'll see. Through the final corner, it's going to be in the 23s. It's a P10 position. It's a nice little slot for him in the Alfa Romeo. I think he's got more than that, of course.
I do too. I think he's safe, though. With that being said, you got Shanghai, who's P15. Just barely ahead of the elimination zone, is no longer barely ahead of the elimination zone. He is ahead of the teammate there of Wavy Knife, who is currently on a lap, it looks like, and in the first sector. Leon Miner, also a driver on a lap. Let's see what Leon is doing currently in the second sector. Leon has to improve, and he is not improving right now. So it could very well be Leon a part of the bottom 5. He has got to set a personal best here in Sector 3, and hopefully that is where he lost all that time. He needs to find 2 seconds in order to get in to the next round. And right now, he is facing elimination, and part of that bottom 5, bottom 4, whatever you want to call it. The slowest driver on track right now comes into the final corner, comes out of the final corner, and assuming he does not do another lap, Leon Miner is out. Oh, Wavy's around, and Wavy's going to be out too. And Wavy, I was talking about that final corner where drivers had continued to lose the rear. It happened a lot in real life where they slid. Wavy this time slid into a wall.
I did. We were on one of the flying laps. We both mentioned then that last corner is very easy to bottle on the exit. And there you go. Q1 is basically complete now. The eliminees being Mr. Red Fire Tiger, Mali, Lewis Piper, and Leon, 3 of which had quali bans. So Leon, the only driver eliminated on pure pace, and then obviously Wavy Knife would have been through, but he threw it all the way.
Must be said, with that being shown right there, there is a Tier 2 seat on hand for Mercedes alongside yourself as a teammate. Now that Beatnik is going to be Tier 1 full-time. Probably won't make every race, but we'll see if Wavy is a part of that lineup or not. That may have been the chance to prove himself.
I've been being questioned, but this could be revealing information that he's not wanting to reveal, but I don't care. I didn't sign an NDA. Yeah, I haven't had as Leon finishes quali. I have been having discussions with Beatnik around the second Mercedes driver. And Wavy's name has been brought up, but it's obviously crashing there when he's under no pressure will certainly not help his case at all.
Leon Miner, Mali, Refire, and Lewis Piper, a part of that bottom 4 eliminated in qualifying. Your top half of the field is shown right here. We'll show page 2 in just a moment, but in the first page we have Jack Miles writing a bit of his own. He ended up taking victory last week in Las Vegas, and now at another night race he looks to take a first pole on the season, making it a 5th different season on pole position. But we head to Q2 where Jack Miles will have to see if he can improve on a 22-2. Where De Chiller is right behind, Ads is in 3rd, Minico and Josh round out the top 5. Florian is 6th for Red Bull, and now we head to Q2, but we just slightly shown you the bottom 5 there. It's technically bottom 5 now with Wavy crashing out of the session. He's not going to be able to compete in the session. He made it through on pace, but it will be bottom 4 in this session at least, considering the fact that the bottom 5 are not going to compete in this one. Wavy made it through, just not going to make it through for competition due to crashing. It's just unfortunate for him, but the teammate is through as well with Shanghai. Nicely done there.
Who's going to get eliminated now? You're going to be, well, I reckon it's obviously going to be poor little born Shanghai in that Williams. He's not going to have the performance to get through to Q3. I don't know who else. I mean, even the fight for pole is very open, and the fight for Q3 I think is very open as well. It's very, for once, I think we've got one of the most. This could be like the closest qualifying, like in terms of like I don't know how to predict it. For a while in Tier 1.
Yeah, I think the one who's hiding and could be sandbagging in this session as so far we've seen, I think is Korsman. Because, yes, Korsman has a lot of paces. They're just racing out of the pit lane. My goodness. Yeah, no, Korsman is one who has tons of pace. We've seen it before, and I don't know really how this McLaren's going to handle around here. It should handle a little better than it did in Vegas. Either way, I think the fact of the matter is, even with Korsman being here, you got other drivers who can challenge Korsman. Reese was that far ahead of the pack in Vegas on pure pace, and Cryptic was up there with him, to where you had the drivers in here who kind of get the opportunity now. Since Reese and Scyther, 5 wins in the season, no one's going to catch them. They both had the most. You know, I think now is the chance to kind of prove yourself if you're someone like the Chiller. You know, you had a lot of backlash come toward your name saying you don't deserve to be in that Red Bull for next season. Well, time to prove you do. Jack Miles, no pole this season. Well, that could very well change. Josh as well, the teammate. You'll see in the season preview coming out later this week on the YouTube that Titan said that Ferrari lineup is the best lineup. I don't know if I always agree with that or not, but it's definitely top 3, no doubt about it. Maybe top 4, if at the bare minimum. Driver start laps, I'll get my predictions in now. You said Shanghai. I will add Shanghai to mine. I will also add Cam on that list. I think AMS Knights is a part of that list, and really for the last spot is going to be the tricky part. I'm going to say for the last spot, we're going to go with Barney. I mean, Barney will barely miss it. And I thought he was going to be in last week, but he wasn't. So, yeah.
Not a bad call at all, actually. I was thinking Barney would be safely through, considering his caliber. But yes, that could very well be the guy on the fringes. As the Schiller will be the first guy to set the first lap for Q2 in his Red Bull car. He's got a very nice helmet on, very good.
Very true. Yes, purple in the second sector. Here he comes now to the final sector. Yellow flags. That is for a car starting their lap, but the Chiller comes through now the final sector. Bless you, I think. Turn 10, turn 11, turn 12. Now he comes through the final couple of corners. One you got to just get all over the curbs for. Battery already drained, so he's going to have at least a decent bit coming to the line. Not anywhere near the curbs toward the final 2 corners, except now where he comes to the line and sets the benchmark 22.5. A little bit better than his provisional time at the start of last session, but now Jack Miles absolutely astonishes the field in terms of the two who've set the time so far, with him and the Chiller. 22.4 now. That's the benchmark. Next is Mercedes across the line. It is going to be Minico starting a lap, and now we switch to Josh, the next competitive car to reach the line. AMS Knights, nice lap there. Not enough for a top 3 spot because Josh steals that away. The Alpine is TB across the line. Then McLaren, that is Korsman. Korsman, 4th fastest. I said he was hiding a bit of pace, but as of right now, doesn't look like it.
Is.
Yeah, very well true. Is this his legitimate pace or not?
He's given the top runners a little bit of false hope as Florian. A little shock there goes to the top.
And we're already going faster than Q1. Q1 was a 22.2. Florian's into a 22.1.
The track is ramping up.
Yes, it is. Ads is next for Mercedes. Then we'll get on board with a actual lap, and we'll commentate through that. Ads close to pole in USA. This is another chance for him. He's going to go front row for Q2. Obviously, he's not actually going to be on the front row of qualifying where to end right now because we still have another session, but second place for him. So, again, another driver who could contend for pole. Realistically, you know, it's the Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLarens who have a chance here tonight. And, you know, usually you say, oh, well, you know, they always do. They're the top cars. Well, I think with Reese, Scyther, and Cryptic being out, it's not like there's a driver lineup or drivers that far ahead of the pack that we can say, okay, they're going to be the one to do it. You know, Florian is a nice story considering what's happened in Tier 2 throughout the last 3 months for him, maybe even farther than that, you could say. Ads is a nice story because he won his first race in Texas. Jack won his second last week in Vegas. De Chiller as well, part of that story as well for him, coming back to a top team after getting fired from Ferrari. Going to be full-time Red Bull next season, gets a chance to prove himself here. And Minico, we've never had a Canadian driver on podium in RPL. Would be very historic to have that happen tonight.
That's an interesting stat. I didn't know that. The Canadians
Yeah.
ever been on the podium
He was
in
wondering
RPL.
that. Why not? Why not give it out now? Cam on a lap. How about you go through this? Your favorite corner,
Yes,
I
here
think,
we
from the
go.
2021 season.
Absolutely, I was jumping with joy here, and Cam's car has actually remained pretty stable in the rear end for once through that corner. And then in the straights where I was stressing very horribly in 2021. Into the chicane we go, the only remaining pretty much chicane on the circuit. And he has a bit of a bumpy ride there through the apex of the second part of the chicane, now down at the second DRS straight on the circuit. Out of the two of them, and into the beautiful new long left. You just don't know when to plant the throttle there. Does he do it now? Yes, here we go. You do it a little bit too soon. Your car goes absolutely flying into the barriers. And too late, then you lose acres of time. That's not a correct terminology for time. You lose lots of time. And into the final sector, like you need to, basically all these corners are, you need to imagine them as one corner. You need to hook them all up, one after one after one, and he's done it a little bit roughly there, but into the final corner he comes. It's pretty stable lap time, and it's the bottom.
23.8, also a lap time being set by Bourbon. How about the Aston Martins? We've not talked about them. It looks like Aston Martin can get themselves up there as well. Bourbon took a podium for them on post-race penalties in Brazil. Could very well be up there on the pace this time. Very nicely done.
I'm quite shocked at Cam's pace there. Maybe he just had a dreadful lap, but it did look a bit scruffy in the last sector. So he's obviously surely going to have to improve that lap time. And I think he will do by quite some margin.
New objectives for Cookie's contract due to the release of the calendar. We should be seeing new objectives for a lot of the drivers. As we go on board with the chiller, we'll talk about laps again in a moment. However, a 26 race calendar, for those of you who have not seen it, you guys are probably thinking, no, that's surely not true. It is, because the F1 game does not come out till mid to late June, and if we were to run a regular 22 race calendar, we're running all the way to the beginning of May, and we're having a big break. Some drivers would like it, some drivers probably wouldn't, but as you say yourself, Owen, more racing, more action, and with that being said, you know, 26 races is a historic number for RPL because we will have our 200th race next season, the most races in a single season. And in fact, we'll be running every track on the F1 game, which I think is, the first time that's happened since probably the very early seasons of RPL. And there's a lot to look forward to, no doubt about it.
Yes, it was a just a genuine agreement with all of us as an owner / admin team to why not go for a 26 race calendar. The reason you don't do it in real life, you know, I think everyone would want a 26 race calendar in real life if it wasn't for the obvious downsides for the team and the traveling, you know, limitations for everyone. But obviously on the video game we have no issues with such things, so why not just chuck every single track in the game out? We'll find the ultimate best driver over every single racetrack in the game. And many records should be broken theoretically. However, obviously the L74G seasons in F1 2020 and the Mercedes, the points he attained, the team attained, obviously were ludicrous amounts. But with a 26 race season, Could we see a potential breakage of those records? It'll be very exciting. Or will we have another very competitive, well, like Tier 2, a competitive season between drivers and the low championship point scoring amount? Usually, the lower the championship points amount for the champion, the better the season usually. But yes, it'll be exciting. It could go 50-50. You could have domination from the Red Bull team, or you could have four teams fighting for the championship, which will be very interesting and enjoyable to see, I'm sure.
Jack Miles thinks he's safe. I think that's an okay or a fair bet.
Yeah,
Minico
presumption.
does the same. That's a little more of a risk considering where he's at. And Florian on top right now for Red Bull. Very well thinking he's safe. I would be completely fine with that. Tier 2 calendar released. Is it a record with 13 races being done in Tier 2?
I would assume so. I will have to double check for you, but I'm pretty sure we've never done more than 12 at least. Because you always usually do half the amount of the Tier 1 races. So whatever Tier 1's is, half it. And it's usually what Tier 2 is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's quite a fair assessment. You're getting some retirements currently in the session. We have AMS Knights on a lap coming through the chicane of turns 6 and 7 now. Heading down the back straights. The 6-7 chicane is one where we've seen tons of battling before. Now turn 8 right here, and on the run toward turn 9 where it just opens up. That corner you can take so much lines in now. The sector split, it's a 53-2, a 10th down on the time. So he's going to have to find time in the last sector if he wants to stay in this top 10. He's on the cusp of being eliminated, but you know what? He's got some drivers behind that who are on track right now, and some still could be on track later on as well. Here is AMS Knights coming through the final couple of corners. Latifi's famous corner there in the third to last corner where a lot of controversy happened right there. Easy place to lose it. So is the last corner. He slides out of the corner, but does improve.
Yes, he needed to improve that lap. He's going to be nowhere near the top 8, obviously. They're in a different league. Basically, but he needs to extend the gap to try and make sure. Can he get into Q3? Lennon's going to start his lap now. One of the gentlemen in the drop zone. Lennon's obviously very impressive in Tier 2. Obviously, me watching him drive in the same race, I was blown away by how quick he got to the back of me when he was starting last in the grid in both races, and he won both races from the last row. So an astonishing driver and prospect Lennon is. Could be a future Tier 1 race winner, possibly. I'm going to call it now. I think he's got the skill set for it. And at the moment, he's going to be hoping to be a future Q3 contender in Abu Dhabi here.
The top 6 think they're safe. We'll see if any of them get eliminated by shock, as we saw in Brazil and a couple weeks ago before that. Either way, we got Lennon on a lap, as you were just talking about. Yeah, very impressive, no doubt about it. Purple in the middle sector. He was one of those names thrown around for a potential Red Bull loan tonight. And if that were to be the case, would have been very interesting to see. Now here he comes. Josh improves to 2nd, so that knocks Minico down to 7th. Josh's lap is good enough to contend for pole position next round of qualifying if he just continues the pace. Lennon now needing some more pace to find in the final sector, final corners here as he comes across the line. Where is he going to be? Can he get into the top 10? The answer is yes, just barely. So he should be okay. We've got in the background TB. He is starting a lap. There are 3 drivers yet still to cross the line, and they should be able to make it to the flag. Korsman's going to be the one that's questionable. Cam's invalidated an outlap. The next to cross the line is going to be Shanghai. We'll go on board with him as he comes to the final sector. The only one not to set a lap, well, this is the lap he's going to set now, and it's going to be the one that counts.
Yes, he makes sure he doesn't do the same thing Latifi did in the same car. Very close to the track limits on the exit of the corner there. And for the final 2 corners, flat out, harden the brakes. Want to get a nice little entry into the final corner. Brilliant, nice, well held, but he's going to be knocked out. It's going to be a 1.5 second time off the pole time of Florida, unfortunately.
There you go, 13th for Shanghai. You still need drivers coming across the line to see whether or not any of them they get through. You have Fake TB improving. Could knock Lennon out of the top 10. AMS Knight's another one who could get knocked outside the top 10 because you have Barney on a lap now, and at the first sector is up by a tenth. TB's up by 2/10, so this would get him into Q3 if he could just find a couple more hundredths in the final couple of corners.
Mistake.
He's wiggling. You saw a little bit of that wiggle. Korsman going to start a lap, gets to the line in time. TB getting to the line now. Is he going to improve and get into the top 10? The answer is yes. He is into Q3. Now it's Lennon knocked to the bottom 5 and is out because he is not going to be on a lap. Now we have Cam 3/10 up on the board. He is improving in the final sector. Checkered flag is waving, and this is going to be it. Who is going to get in? Cam right now currently out. Gonna need to improve by about a second. He was improving quite a bit. Out of the final corner he comes. He does improve just behind the teammate. Now here comes Barney. Barney is 67 thousandths up. But did that time that he lost prior come from the final corners? Now here he comes. The last one who could knock anyone outside the top 10. It's between the two Alfa Romeos, at least one of them getting in, or two of them out. It's going to be one of them in, and it's going to be AMS Knights. Barney did improve, but he didn't prove any places. Shanghai, Barney, Lennon, and Cam, the bottom 4 in the relegation zone.
Shocked by AMS Knights out-qualifying Cam on his return to RPL. A very high caliber driver, as displayed earlier in the season in Zandvoort when he was in the Ferrari and he was fighting for the race lead with Reese Dainty, and he's been knocked out in Q2. He'll be disappointed even if he's in the Alfa Romeo, but he will be disappointed nonetheless. And somewhat of a shock actually to many, I assume, and to myself actually. I thought he would beat his teammate tonight, but I guess the night goes to Deaf Knights. Humor.
Well, I'll add some humor into it. Quack Quack. His name is on Discord. He changed it, obviously, not too long ago. He is into this session. Poor old duck. Hope you don't get beaten. Well, that duck did beat his teammate Cam. Cam talking about losing time there, that it was his fault, and we watched Korsman come into the garage. He is safely through 8th place, slowest of those top 5 teams that are still in qualifying. We'll see if there is any pace to be found in Q3. Here is the top 10 and the bottom 4 on our screens. A 22-1, the top time in Q2 from Florian. Then it's Josh and Ads. Ads has been up there in the top 3 in both sessions. Jack and DeChiller as well, a part of that top 5. They were top 3 in the first session, not this time. Borbin, Minico, Korsman, TB, and Depth Nice getting through. In the bottom 5, we have Cam, Lennon, or bottom 4, Cam, Lennon, Barney, and Shanghai, made up of 4 different teams, 2 academies, Alpha Haas, the Ferrari Academy, Williams, Aston Martin, the Mercedes Academy. So we are on for quite the Q3 session after it was quite the fight. 8/10 you needed to be behind the leader to get through. You said it was going to be a close one. I agreed with you, and I still agree that it will be a close one for pole 2.
I don't actually know who's going to be. Obviously, after Q2, Florian's the favourite. After Q1, Jack was the favourite. And then watch it turn out to be someone like Big TB will take pole position in the end because he's put a rocket ship in the back of the car or something. I don't know. The top 8 could go any way, shape or form. I believe it's going to be 9th for TB and 10th for Def Knights, or sorry, MS Knights, Mr. Knights, Mr. Quackity Boy, all of the above. But yes, he'll be in P9 or P10 with TB. And obviously the top 8 should remain the same as it was in Q2, unless someone crashes, as Minico's got a bit loosey on the picks. So almost hit the wall, actually. He's got a very nice helmet.
You know, is it Depth Knights, his Discorded name is Quack Quack. Can we just say he's quick because he is quick and he did get ahead of his teammate. Nah, we're all for the jokes here in RPL. Chat, there's 11 of you watching, and in fact, if we can just get a couple of more of you watching, we very much could break the peak record of viewership this season in a single race. We probably could break the average viewership considering we have 11 watching, and we've had that kind of consistently, as well as 10 or 9 people. With that said, chat, get your predictions. Now is the time to predict who is going to be the top 3 and the pole. The pole time, or sorry, the Q2 time was a 22:1. I'm saying the pole time is going to be a 21:9 or 21:8. I'm going to go 21:8 instead of 21:9. Still think some people are hiding some pace and could very well improve. I also think as well that top 3 is going to consist of, in no particular order, Ads, Jack, and Florian. I think it's going to be those guys in the top 3. Do I think Korsman's hiding a little bit of pace? Of course. Do I think the Chiller would be up there? Of course. But you know what? As you kind of hinted at the previous qualifying sessions, the top, how many ever, have been close. The only ones not as close, TB and AMS Knights, but even then, they've been impressive enough to get in this session. They'll probably be part of the bottom 2, maybe sneak into 7th or 8th. TB has been in the Q3 quite a bit in a row now, and AMS Knights on that return. Very nicely done. Any predictions from you, Owen?
Well, I've got another little classic joke here for you. Is Tias sandbagging? Of course, man. So will he get on the top 3? Potentially. As he was pushing the limit for 1 track limit. Yes, of course, man. Did it take you a while to get the joke?
No, I did get the joke. I just wanted to cut in there. Because, of course, man, he did exceed the track limits.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. Of course, man.
Oh,
No, anyway.
Of course he did.
You know, I tuned in a little bit during, you know, my, I guess, notes and preview for this race that I took. And I tuned into Tadpole's stream last week at Vegas. And I just see Korsman, you know, similar to Reese, just the Dutchman is so calm and just simply just very, very smart. He was so quiet during that race at Vegas, just focused in. And, you know, I did get a little angry sometimes, but he kept himself very focused. And, yeah, new esports team for him, as you can see, TES in his name. First driver to cross the line becomes Minico. Here we go. Minico is going to set the benchmark. It's going to be a 22.4. So, just 0.3 off of the Q2 time. The Red Bull comes across the line. That's going to be the Chiller. The Chiller goes to a 21.7. That is an impressive lap time. Wow. Can it be beaten? AMS Knights slides into the final corner and slides into P3. Slowest of them all so far, Florian. What has he been able to do? A 21.8. Second in the Red Bull. A front row lockout for them. Bourbon next. Bourbon will set himself starting a lap. Next is the Ferrari of Josh. P4 for him. Jack Miles, who took pole last season in Abu Dhabi. Can he take provisional pole for now? Won last week. Jack is going to be P3, but he's fastest in the final sector, though.
I don't know where that lap came from the Schiller, man. Out of nowhere. Into the 21.7s. We were predicting 21.8. 21.9s. The P1 time in Q2 was a 22.1. So 4 tenths quicker than Q2 already. And Az just came across the line to 21.9 in an unvalidated lap. So he's got the PSP up there as well. So interesting.
Yes. Very well done there. Yes, some people were definitely hiding something. We have 3 more runners across the line. Korsman next as well as... Oh, well, he's invalidated. Again? Yep, second time in a row. Ads on a lap. What were your predictions? I didn't really catch that. I think the stream might have, but I didn't really catch it.
I don't think I said them, but I'm going to say Chiller now. Because I've got the benefit of the banker laps.
Don't doubt him. That's what I
learned.
I
don't know. I don't know. I do not know. There are 2 Red Bulls and I don't know. The current top 3. There you go. I'll just be
fair.
Safe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm enjoying this too much to care too much about my prediction. This is sensational.
I hear ya. I hear
47
ya. I mean, I got the pole time wrong. I mean, I was doing good when I joined the Tier 1 booth in the first half of the season that I did, and now that the second half, I've just fumbled the bag. I've got it wrong too many times. I could care less as well myself. I think the only driver back out on track... actually, no, everyone's come in. I thought TB was out on track for a moment. Never mind, yeah, they are.
Bourbon, Adams, and TS Korsman are under a lot of pressure. They don't have a banker lap to bank on.
True.
So
True.
Their last lap's going to be all or nothing. So they should be shaking in their boots.
Yeah, I agree. We have a 21-7 setting the pole time right now. Florian is going to be at AlphaTauri next season. We have not talked a lot about this. The Chiller, well, he's only good in top cars. Well, let's say he's only good in top cars right now. The fact that Florian is only 47 thousandths off of him, bravo. Absolute scenes. And it's impressive from him. I am glad to see him in the mix up there. With that being said, this gives him tons of confidence for next season in that AlphaTauri. This also, to me, solidifies the fact that he is ready for Tier 1. He deserves it. The thing I want to see from him now that I didn't fully see in Tier 2 this season, yes, he didn't show up to every race, so it was hard to see it, especially in the Aston Martin era of his. He's leaving the Mercedes Academy to go to the Red Bull Academy at AlphaTauri. I need to see some more consistency from you, Florian. Besides that, very well deserving of a Tier 1 seat.
Yes, obviously, we signed him when I was still with Ferrari team principal management. We signed him as the lead driver of the team to try and get the championship. A few races in, wasn't working out, obviously, and we had to chuck George back in the car. So we'll see if he can do it on the big stage today, alongside an RPL world champion in the Chiller, and alongside many RPL race winners like Jack, Josh, TB, Bourbon, and Ads, and Mr. Korsman. So many race winners in this top 10 in Q3. Florian, not yet. He's not yet won a Grand Prix, I don't believe, in Tier 1, so he's got a lot of pressure, and he couldn't hack the pressure in Tier 2. Can he hack the pressure in Tier 1? It's a completely different ball game with a lot quicker drivers, so it'll be very anticipating to see how he does.
You know what I find interesting? I believe, and if I'm correct, it was back in Portimao, I believe Season 8 maybe, that he had a podium. That's his only podium in Tier 1. And besides that, you know, he's not been in contention for 1, and now is his chance. The only Tier 1 champion in this session is the Chiller, which is very interesting indeed. There's obviously a lot of RPL champions in this session, TB being, or sorry, the Chiller and TB, excuse me, I should have said. I kind of forgot about that for a second. TB, don't hate me afterwards, but yeah, the Chiller, TB, Jack, Bourbon is the last F2 champion. Obviously, for events next week, we got Brazil for Tier 2, Bahrain for Tier 1, and F2 will try to run the finale once again at Bahrain. That race, for those of you who wanted to tune in, seemed to be postponed with lack of attendance either way. Here comes our final laps. We shall see who's going to be on pole position. How about you take it away, Owen, for AMS Knight's lap? His final one, it could be.
Very safe there on the exit. You don't want to actually use too much curb because it's very, you can drag you down a little bit through the little S section, very sluggish in the Alfa Romeo. Could just be the car and into turn 5. You want to have a really wide apex. Very nicely done there. Kind of lots of speed through. And then chucking the DRS on as soon as possible. Down the big boy straight on this track. A lot of yellow flags from both slowing down to try and let him through. Into the chicane we come. Very late on the brakes. You want to turn in but not too much to clip the orange shot curves. Very wide entry to the second part. And a bit of a loose rear end as well. He's going to get a big slippy toe off of Josh there. And that's going to help massively. Very good, nice teamwork from Josh. Then into the airpin, long swoopy boy we go. Again, just not being too rushful, too rushy. The correct terminology for rush to put the throttle on, and then through the little kink now into the hard braking points, braking while turning, and into this amalgamation of corners into the hotel section. Obviously, as I said before, they're all like one corner. You need to combine them all together, and into the flat last 2 corner, into the last corner, and then beautiful. Next, he's invalidated. He's bottled it.
It would have been a 22.8, and it would have kept him P7. Likely not going to keep P7 now. He invalidated this and the next lap. Bourbon has invalidated the lap time. Starting a lap is Josh and Fake TB. How about we watch Josh, who could very well take a pole position here. He has never had a pole position in RPL, Ferrari, on a good amount of pole positions this season. The most at 10. They're going to keep that, as here he goes. Improving in the first sector. Needed that one to happen. And 30 seconds remaining for drivers to get in their final qualifying laps of the season. Everyone will make it to the flag.
Can Josh put that beautiful Ferrari on the pole position? We shall see. MS Knights giving a little bit of a toe, not as good as the one that Josh gave MS Knights, but
Everyone's helpful.
should be good enough to give him a little boost. And Nico has crashed it. He's going to be out of qualifying. He's crashed at the exit of turn 5. How's he done that?
Traction coming out of the corner is the only thing I could think of. It looks like Josh is purple in the second sector.
Can he put it on pole position? Like you said, his first ever RPL pole position. He's had wins, but none of them been from pole position. The number 39 Ferrari through the hotel section. He's 9/10 off the pole time. He needs to improve over a second to take provisional pole. Obviously made a mistake on his lap. Can he do it for the last corner? Nicely done.
Keep it within track limits.
Exit. Out is P4.
Very nicely done. TB just slotting in behind. Jack Miles comes across the line to take provisional pole. It would be a 5th in a row if he can just keep it. Winner last week. Pole sitter so far this week. Can Red Bull deny him? The Chiller is up on the time. His 1 star with Red Bull this season is pole. Can anyone take it away? Bourbon Boy is in the checkered flag, but without a lap. Ads comes across the line now. His only lap this session. Invalidated the first one for track limits. Across the line he comes. It's going to be 4th. Nicely done there. Behind, AMS Knights is off. Korsman is coming around. The hotel section now with Florian chasing. Both on laps. Korsman goes 4th. Florian
has
not
backed
improving
off.
in the second sector. The Chiller for Red Bull in the lone Red Bull start this season, and it is a 15th pole all time, a 4th this season. How about that?
Very nicely done from the Chiller. I'm very proud of him. Showing the haters that he is very quick and he can take pole position in an RPL F1 race still. Let's just see if he can back up at the Grand Prix, which is where he mainly has struggled with. He's got the good lap pace, but can he keep his head over the race trim? We will have to wait and see.
Jack Miles' streak of 4 seasons in a row with a pole position comes to an end, but he still put it on the front row for Ferrari. Nice pace right there from Jack. Red Bull was hiding pace. McLaren's TS Korsman was hiding a little pace, but nothing too severe. The top 3, De Chiller, Jack, and Florian for Red Bull. Korsman and Ads rounds out the top 5. Then behind that, Josh, a chance for pole position, his first since Mexico. TB right in behind there, getting ahead of a Mercedes, so nice shout out to him. Minico, 8th place right there after the crash out. AMS Knights and P9 and Bourbon Boy, invalidated lap time, went over track limits, didn't get a time in because of that. He will start P10. So as we end off qualifying, we now want your predictions for the race. As for the strategy, it is going to either be soft hard or medium hard. The revert strategy can be done. Pit stops happen around from lap number 9 to 18. We will see the hards last the most. They can last 2/3 of the race. The softs only last about 1/3 of the race. And ERS, you gain back in the pit lane 16%. That pit lane is very tricky. It's under the bridge, and pit stop loss 20 seconds.
Only one circuit on the, only one corner on the circuit is available for, it is declared as having a raceable surface. That's turn 1. So if you see some drivers being forced off at turn 1, you know why. It was not legal. Or it is legal, sorry. It is not illegal.
Right.
And Titan is saying, I don't know if you've said it or anything yet, but he's said that the Schiller, he thinks, is going to win the Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, he's never won an Abu Dhabi, but he was on pole here in the first ever season of RPL. 14 of you watching, time to tune in. Here come the 5 red lights, the final time before season 10 of F1 RPL. Lights are out, away we go. It was a quick one, and in fact, the AlphaTauri's already spinning. The AlphaTauri, Leon Minor around, but the Chiller in the lead, and now it's single file all the way to P4. Yellow flags at the back of the field. That is for Leon, still continuously spinning. However, here we go, now through 2, 3, 4, and now on the run to turn 5. The Chiller has Jack up the rear, and Jack following with the Red Bull down the inside. Florian is gonna send it. These two used to be teammates in the same academy, different tier, side by side. Jack comes out in front. He's now got Florian, still tucking in behind, following on the run to turn 6 and 7. Here they come. Oh, contact at turn number 6 and 7. Florian had a look there, snuck in right behind. Throughout the field, you saw in the background, everyone keeping it okay. May have been a slight bit of contact, but nothing too severe. Lots of side-by-side action. Now we go to further on in the field. TB and Ads, 6th and 7th. Ads getting the place, Cam getting the place for P number 9. Lennon and Barney side by side. Barney only a second start. Lennon can say the same. Lennon gets ahead.
MS Knights had a disaster of a Grand Prix start here. He started to P14, squabbling with Mali and Red Fire Tiger. I don't know what's happened to him on that race start. It was born in Shanghai, had a spin on the exit of turn 1 as well. He's much on the order as well. And the Schiller leads away. He's had the perfect start to this Grand Prix.
The Chiller, if he takes podium today, he's going to sit at 38 podiums all time, tying Fake TB, Scyther, and Reese for a 4-way tie for P3. Coming in as Wavy, it looks like he may have picked up damage. If he did, it's very unfortunate. Williams in a constructor battle with Alfa Romeo for P8, trying to hang on right there. AlphaTauri also in a constructor's battle with Alpine. Alpine with currently TB in the points would get it over AlphaTauri. Here we go. DRS going to be enabled next time. Minico trying to look already before DRS. Here he goes. Looking out. Inside line. Side by side at 6 and 7. Minico ahead, but TB has just spun him. They connected. Real wheels. Rear to front. And that's how that one happened. Outside the points now.
Name a more iconic duo, TB and a collision at chicane. We'll have to review that. Is it TB's fault, or is the circumstances of that corner showing that he has to be given space there? TB will start to be arguing that point very heavily in the stewards room after the Grand Prix, but probably more on the racing instance side of things there. I think Minico probably should have given a little bit more leeway. You know, it's a chicane, you don't want to just take the race line. As far as lag out of the session disaster, I'll try and get it back in.
That is not good. And you said name a more iconic duo than TB and collision and chicanes. I have one. How about a collision with a Mercedes? That's not been great for TB, no doubt about it. We look now to the positions gained with DRS enabled. Here's Korsman trying to get by Florian as he lagged out. Up 1 spot for Josh. Up 4 for Cam. Very nicely done. We go to the lead. We'll talk about positions gained in a moment. Jack Miles breezes past. Slingshot engaged. Up into the lead of the race. How about that? They used to be teammates. Now, it used to be second place for Jack. It's now the lead of the race. In fact, the same way could be said for DeChiller with the roles reversed. He's going to get the roles reversed this time with the DRS implied for him. Subshim also for him. Here he goes. Ducking out. Pulling out. Inside line. Gets the race lead back. How about that one? But Jack Miles has a look back up his inside. Side by side into the final couple of corners. This final sector. DeChiller remains out ahead. We continue with the spots gained. You see through the field, it is 1 for Bourbon, 9 from Red Fire Tiger, who had the qualifying ban. Also with the qualifying ban was Mally, 4 up from him.
Wow, top two.
What a good race so far.
After the Florian
duking it out.
I've invited Florian. He's just not joining. I don't know what's going on.
I will invite him through here. We'll make sure I get him through the friends list. Either way, I would say for the most part a clean start. It has to be said. Why can't I find him? I can't find him.
Where's he gone?
Why is this? This thing must be
disappeared.
offline. It shows maybe. All right then. You'll have to get him then, because I can't. Jack Miles coming back at it. This time it's gonna be the left side for Jack Miles. Already before the 6 and 7 chicane. Into the race lead. TB as well getting Cam for P7, and now TB wants to get P6 as Florian still tries to join back the session. You have Bourbon looking for a move to be made behind Cam. Now here comes DeChiller back for the overtake. Can't get it done just yet. DeChiller's going to wait patiently. Korsman doing the same there as well. Yeah. I hope we can get Florian back in. It's unfortunate because he was running on the podium. I can't get him because his thing is through PC. You will have to. You did 3 times, so there you go. Yellow flags. This time it's for Shanghai. Williams. Well, we didn't talk a whole lot about who's on what tire. Cam, the first driver inside the points to pick up a penalty. Second, this race, moves were being made there in the first sector. Apologies for missing that one. Everyone is so nip and tuck and close to one another. Lennon looking for a move. Yeah, we didn't talk about tires. You have yellow flags. It's again the same car. Either way, it's wavy actually this time. Either way, most on mediums, others on hards, and one runner of Cam on softs.
I'm going to be having to pit very shortly in this race as he gets overtaken by Bourbon. Lennon and the Red Fire Tiger going wheel to wheel to the chicane. Red Fire Tiger going very deep. He's just punted. Lennon off the circuit there. Lennon's on a Lewis Hamilton. He's got a penalty for that. I'll be reduced. As he's given the position back to Red.
Korsman also getting third place on Josh as well. Here comes Barney around the outside this time. Lennon is now officially outside of the points, and now they go around and spinning. Oh no. Minico having a look, locks up around the outside of AMS Knights, side by side at this section. Usually gets very tight. AMS Knights almost put into a wall. That got close. Luckily though, no one's out of this race. Oh! Wow. Molly was coming in the pit lane. Lewis Piper was having a look down the inside, and luckily, no major contact, but could have been a bad moment.
Still just struggling to get Florian back in the game.
It's just unfortunate.
That Italian
Here comes the
lifetime,
Chiller. Trying to regain the lead, can't do it. Gonna sit in behind, potentially conserve some battery. Here is Josh retaking P3. Back for the lead. The Chiller has DRS. Here's Jack trying to defend the spot. The Chiller's just gonna slot in behind. Jack Miles. A little worse battery than the Chiller, but keeping the race lead. Very nicely done there. Bourbon as well, trading spots once again with TB. It's just been a nice little DRS train, but you know what? Similar to what we saw in multiple races this season with Reese and Scyther, Reese and Cam, and Zenvort, Reese and Stenner. Really, you could say Reese and anybody, and sometimes Cryptic. Luke was a part of that. Luke, another driver, by the way, not here, we didn't mention. It seems like the same thing has happened as we reach lap 7. The top two have been able to pull away, whereas the rest of the field are right there in their own DRS trains, and there's just more than 2 DRS trains, it seems, as well.
Yes, the top group pulling away quite thoroughly. And then obviously at Bourbon, you see the rest of the more midfield gaggle. And then behind that, you've got the back midfield gaggle of cars that are now overtaking Florian's this next car.
Yeah, I really thought he could have been on for a podium, but just unfortunate, unlucky for him. As we see the Chiller again continuing to follow Jack Miles. Just waiting for the time he's going to make a move, because you know what? He's either not been close enough or simply elects not to, just because he's either too far back, doesn't want to go for anything stupid, or wants to conserve ERS. This time, he's going to continue to do the same. There is Bourbon getting overtaken by Fake TB right there. In fact, we should probably mention as well, Molly, who pitted. Florian got the Reese Wi-Fi for Monza. Yeah, that's kind of accurate. Except he hasn't joined back the session yet, though. Either way, yeah, we should mention Molly, I was going to say, who had pitted there. The only notable one to pit so far. Lennon obviously pitted with damage, I believe. But Molly won this race in Season 1. We spoke about the Chiller, who was on pole that race. Molly won it. And Shanghai, the 4th different driver to pick up a time penalty. Here comes Ads heating up the back of Josh. Does he make a move? Does he need to make a move? No, he doesn't. Sits in behind. But now, the Chiller losing ground on Jack.
Well, Jack's the much better driver in a race situation as Leon has spun again. As has now passed Mr. Josh for P3. These three for P4, 5, for 3, 4, and 5 are just rotating their positions at this stage in the race, which is probably optimal. Josh has got the least DRS of these two, so he should probably sit back for a bit, try and regain some of that. And then at the back, then for the fact that P8 is raging at the moment with Red Fire Tiger using the DRS on Mr. Campus, Bourbon as well, and Bourbon and TB keep swapping positions, and into the hairpin we go, wheel to wheel, and Red Fire Tiger is through.
You know, it must feel like a NASCAR race for TB and Bourbon just because they keep swapping the lead, or not swapping the lead, swapping the position for P6 just continuously on that same exact straight, or same exact two straights, because the two DRS zones we have allows for some overtaking. We've got some decent bit of overtaking so far in this race, and you have each to one's own DRS trains right here in this race. Very quiet race so far. We've had a decent bit of races without safety cars this season. It all started after round number 8, and as of recent races, we've had 4 of the last 5 consisting of one safety car. So far, everyone keeping their car in this race. Still have the DRS trains. Everything staying quite a bit nip and tuck, quite a bit quiet. Yellow flags for Leon Miner, and we have the Chiller, who had an issue, I believe, right there. Something happened there to where him and Jack swapped spots. Whatever happened there, they got it situated out, but the yellow flags were for Leon Miner once again.
What was he cooking?
Second Tier 1 start of the season for Leon. Why not have a bit of fun and just learn something for Tier 2? Not in a full-time seat for next season, but having his fun should allow it. Hopefully, though, I will say for the sake of Leon, because he has not DNF'd from any Tier 2 race that he's done. He's only DNF on this game cycle, well, this game cycle at least. Except for last week, or this week, excuse me. I'm saying prior to this week in Tier 2. DNF'd in Brazil. Yellow flags more. This time it is for Wavy. But yeah, Leon hadn't DNF'd any time in Tier 2 prior to this week in Brazil, and he DNF'd last week in Tier 1. Hopefully Leon can keep it in the race. He's done a very good job of that this game cycle so far, but till recent weekends, AMS night, first one, and that midfield to hit the pit lane, we should be seeing a lot more of that. Alright, here we go. The Chiller still within DRS, having the rear wing open behind Jack. Can he get close enough? Not yet. Going to continue to conserve that battery because he's wasted so much of it. Jack Miles has gained quite a bit of his back. Here we go again. Another position swap between Bourbon and TB. TB had his nose down the inside, but is not going to force it this time. And everything quite figured out, it looks like. Oh, there we go.
That is the Wavy Knife Masterclass.
First retirement.
Pit lane.
Yeah, I was going to say he's been struggling. Probably a bit of rear wing damage. Hopefully that's the case, rather than just giving up. However, I must say, we did have a race with 1 DNF in Zandvoort earlier this season. That's the least. Hopefully it remains the same way. I must say, with recent races, recent times in RPL, it was not the greatest of starts to the season in terms of DNFs. However, I think we're coming to a stretch where we could be seeing the first ever race in RPL next season in Season 10. 26 opportunities to see a first RPL race with no DNFs. Now here comes the Chiller. Close enough? Yes, but not close enough for a move. Will we see that, Owen? Will we see a race with no DNFs next season? Do you think so?
Well, like you said, we've got 26 opportunities. Highly unlikely, with the aggression on display in every single RPL Grand Prix race, as we see Dash try to go around the outside. But yes, I doubt it. We'll definitely see some RG-BRG. Someone will get taken out.
Oh,
It's Leon parks on the
Horseman.
apex.
And Josh, bang wheels here in the final couple of corners. And you saw Leon Minor right there, as you were just talking about. TB and Bourbon switch spots, but they stay single file with Josh and Korsman. It is P4 and P5 now, the spots they hold. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have a race or two with no DNFs. I think we're heading to that route. I think if I look back to the races last season, which I was having a look at not too long ago, we had quite a few races with tons of DNFs. And we never really got to a chance where we were at 2 or 1 or maybe 3 last season. This season, we've had that happen a ton. I think we're heading to a direction to where we do see a race with no DNFs. I think it will happen next season. Once, definitely. Twice, that becomes the question.
I respect your enthusiasm on that, but with these argy-bargy racers, here we go to Corbin. He's going for look at that.
Just as you were saying?
You telling me that that is going to end in 0 DNFs next season with these two racing full-time in these seasons? The lead, Darius takes the lead back. We've got a real scrap going on here with Mr. Corbin as he takes the P4. Obviously, the Schiller and Jack are just swapping places. They're probably both the same Xbox party, just communicating what to do right now. Whereas Korsman and Josh, they are really going at each other's throats. As Ads, who's actually in the best position here, he's P3 and he's got the most ARS, and the pit stops will probably be coming soon. He's on the hard tires, the two behind him are mediums. Ads is having a solid race right now as Lewis Piper is accessing to be a C.
He's collided with Red Fire Tiger. Yeah. That is crucial. You said Ads right there in prime position. He just got to pit. Korsman did too. Josh does too. TB a 3-second time penalty. That will be appealed. That was for the pit entrance. And that glitch is still in effect, as Titan was mentioning. Bourbon staying out. Much others going to come into pit. Virtual safety car. Not going to be upgraded, it looks like. However, it was a collision with Red Fire Tiger for Lewis Piper.
Schiller and Jack could lose their P1, P2s here. They've been comfortable ahead, just using each other to try and pull away and make a gap. But the 3 cars right behind them, only 3 seconds behind them, have now gained an advantage on the VSC, and we all know how much time you gain by pitting under the VSC, and they might benefit crucially from that.
I mean, I still think we have a race with no DNFs. Is it 2? Maybe not, but with with no DNFs. Yeah, I think this race so far, though, not the best representation of that, but yeah, mine are off again. The thing you said about those drivers making contact, 1 DNF this season for Korsman, 1 DNF for Josh. I mean, you're going to have drivers who DNF at least once, probably, at some point in the season, surely, or maybe get close to it. But those guys kept it clean as much as they were making contact. They kept it on track, did a nice job of that. And you know what I found interesting, though? Ads on the medium tire now, he should be able... There you go. He should be able to make the rest of this race as long as he is a little conservative on tire wear. The thing with that being said, though, is he has gained on those newer tires and better tires a 2-second gap on Korsman and Josh. So that helps a lot. Let's see the gap from Jack to Ads here. What's it going to look like as Jack now comes out of the pit lane? Oh, I think Ads is going to be ahead easily.
It's going to be the net risk lead for Ads here, I think. Massively. Yeah. Jack has been undercut hugely by these cars in front of him. The VSC completely ruining Jack's race here. As he comes out, he had 2 seconds behind his teammate.
Although Ads is on the better tires, the thing I look at with Ads is his tires will be absolutely cooked at the end of this race. And he will be in puncture territory, whereas the other runners who are going to go to the hards and are already on the hards are going to be close to it, but they're not going to be necessarily on that unless they were that bad on tire wear. So I really think, as much as they're losing time right now, Korsman and Josh, as long as they don't battle aggressively, they will catch Ads, and this is going to be a 5-car race potentially for the race victory.
Yeah, they got to use their heads here, make sure they don't slow each other up. Obviously in the first few laps, probably first 10 or so laps of the stint, well, probably even going to be 8 laps, Ads will be an absolute rocket as he's already pulled away 3-second gaps. Maybe they've already given up hope seeing the gaps not really so big, but Ads is basically leading this race 3 seconds now, as Bourbon is still yet to pit, and so is the Schiller. Bourbon must be going either for the soft tyres at the end of the Grand Prix, as they go as putting those mediums to brilliant use, getting the fast up the race. The Schiller's going to come out certainly behind Jack shortly here. Yes, Bourbon hoping for another safety car, it seems. But yeah, has got the lead by 3 seconds. And
the Chiller,
the VSC paying major dividends as the Chiller comes out right behind. Oh, not right behind Jack. Second and a half behind Jack. The Chiller's race has gone from phenomenal to absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, I think he had decent pace, it must be said, on that first stint. The fact that I do look at, though, as Ads gets Bourbon now, who has stayed out, the fact I do look at, though, is the fact that that's what Red Bull is going to need him to do, the Chiller. Have that pace that he's had today, next season, and in fact be a team player for Cookie, who is going to contend for the Tier 1 championship next season. With that said, here is Net P2 going to Josh for Ferrari. He takes it away.
These two are just going to keep squabbling. It's going to bring Jack back into the real race now is for P2. Ads is probably untouchable, especially at this point in the Grand Prix. Yeah, I don't really see how they're going to catch him unless they get another safety car later in the Grand Prix. Yes, the fight for 2 is going to be ramping up in the next few laps. We'll be having 4 cars fighting for that position. Bourbon keeps staying out. Ad's going quicker again. He's off like a rocket. Leon has made his 17th spin in the Grand Prix. Let's play a drinking game. Drink every time Leon has a spin. I think he'll be slightly intoxicated by the end of the Grand Prix. I've said Grand Prix about 14 times during that sentence as well. Take a drink every time I say Grand Prix.
AMS Knights gets Florian there, who is still not back in the session, but his AI is pitting. Red Fire and Barney, yes, you are right about that one. Here they go. Does Barney go for a lunge? Does he have to? No, he doesn't. And he shouldn't have to. In front of that, here comes Korsman on the back of Josh. A swaparoo right there. Korsman up into P3. Net P2 right there. This battling between these two is going to make sure they don't catch Ads, and it's going to allow Jack to catch up. So likely the battle for P2 now.
Of course, we just let him through there. They don't want to. I think they're trying to work together just by DRSing past. So obviously, it's not going to work very well this next lap because Bourbon is coming. Is going to come into the effect here.
Come into play, yeah. Here we go. We have pit stops for 2 drivers still left. You have Barney and Bourbon. Maybe I should have said Leon Miner too, but Leon Miner has had how many spins? Whoever is drinking can, I guess, take a count of that. Here's Bourbon going to apply effect to his teammate. Look at this. 4.6, 4.8, 4.9. Bourbon is being a blockage. And here's Josh looking on the outside line. Bourbon protects. Here is Josh, still looking to get the move done. Bourbon backs him up. Now the gap is 5.1 to the leaders. Look at this. Bourbon being an academy teammate player. And I think this time he's going to let him go. There you go. We saw this in real life. We see it in a video game. And we see it in RPL. Where now Korsman looking to the outside. Can't get the move done. What will Bourbon do to Jack now in helping his teammate? Because Jack has been very fast this race. Jack now will get past with the help of DRS. Using all that battery. Dumping it. Here comes 3rd and 2nd place having more of a battle. Korsman going up in the 2nd place in this race. DRSing off of Josh. The thing that's going to help them for this race. But now they get to chase after Ads, who is likely going to be going off on those medium tires soon. And the Ferraris do a little switch.
Yes, I think Korsman and Josh were absolutely kicking themselves. They got so quickly by Ads. They were right behind him on the VSC. Clearly Ads had a phenomenal pit exit. And VSC restarts to get away from things. Bourbon dives in pit lane very dangerously, almost colliding with the Chiller there, but luckily no one got hurt in the process. But yeah, Korsman and Josh were fuming. They were right with Ads the whole way the first opening stage of the Grand Prix, and they've obviously lost the number 5.2 seconds. They're going to have to catch that very quickly in the next 12 or so laps.
I think the good thing though for Josh and Jack, with where they're running right now, they're showing they're a strong run for the constructors next season. You know, Titan may have a fair point right there, I don't think they're a lineup that will get a driver's championship, but they know their place. It is the constructors champions that they could contend for, and here we go. Swapping again. It is Korsman and Jack now instead of Korsman and Josh. Lennon now with a penalty, the 5th different driver to do so. That was entering the pit lane. Very well could be appealed. Here is Jack now using that battery on the run towards Sector 3. No positions trading this time. So they remain the same. But those medium tires of ads will start going off around lap 23, lap 22. That is where it will start going off. And as we get to the final final quarters, whatever you want to say, of this race, a 4.5, 4.6 second gap. You can see that gap being gained. It also has caught the chiller up from Bourbon, stacking them up with what he did right there. And the chiller on for a podium for Red Bull. Red Bull have had a podium in quite a bit of rounds this season on a consecutive point scoring streak. Same with Mercedes. They've both scored in every round this season, and by the looks of things will do so once again.
Yes, Florin is still unavailable to get into the back into the race. Race over for him, I'm afraid.
I will try to send him an invite while we're at it, but must be said, Jack Miles' 2 wins have come in the nighttime, and it looks like very well that the nighttime is the right time for Jack Miles because he's gaining on ads, and it could be a second in a row for him at Abu Dhabi. But the problem for him is that the battery, it is very, very low for him, while ads has 33%. He saved his. So if Jack does catch up, he's not in good position here at all.
He's used all his battery to try and eke out the DRS gap on the Korsman. It's on the fringes, and he's now got over the 1 second. Jack seems to be absolutely rapid here in the corners, and you can tell he's been rapid. He's gained 2 seconds almost on ads in the last few laps. But Jack is pushing really hard to get that gap close from ads and to push away from Korsman so that his teammate Josh can try and battle Korsman. Korsman's gone off the circuit, turn 1.
Oh boy. Hopefully he rendered safely. Either way, the thing with Jack that I was going to mention that you were talking about, also Korsman low on battery, Josh on 25%, the chiller on 32. The thing I was going to mention while we go through the ERS from the drivers, Jack is gaining. Yes, he is gaining. No crap, Sherlock. Either way, 3.3, right? That's the gap. So this begs the question now, and I want you to answer this. Is Jack simply pushing that much? Or is Ads losing that much time on the mediums? Or conserving himself, obviously trying to gain back battery? Or is it both? Which one is it?
Well, I'm going to start reviewing the lap times. Ads has got 2 warnings in the 2 previous laps. The lap times are plummeting. Obviously, he went purple there and got a 24.6. The lap after is second slower. The lap after a 26.0. A 26.0 after that, and now 26.4 last lap. So his lap times on the medium tire were very quick on the first few laps. And now he's now already a second, almost 2 seconds slower than the laps he was setting on the fresh tire. That lap, he's on a 26.9. That he's losing a lot of grip on those medium tires. He must have took too much out of them in the first few laps to try and pull out that gap, but he's going to pay the price for it now. He could be 3 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race next lap around, which is astonishing.
If you don't tune into RPL, I really don't understand what you're doing instead on your Saturday evening, Saturday nights, because we have a 5-car race on hand now. And it will become that way once they catch up, because Korsman was 0.6 better than Ads on that lap, and he was in DRS. Does DRS help it? Yeah, of course. But he's also lower on the battery, so he's going to be a little bit slower in the straights, just about evening it out a little bit. And it's not just Jack who's gaining. It's the others behind that. And the Chiller, in the fastest car, gaining very little at a very small rate, but still will be in DRS come time when they catch Ads, it seems. He's just barely off of it. Yellow flags, that is for Shanghai off. And in no man's land, really. Wow. Something must have happened to him to lose it in that area very badly.
Did he lock up? He must have had a major lockup or something.
He had a similar thing happen in Japan where he locked up and the car automatically spun and the rears messed with him. I think that may be a chance of what happened there. He was doing better than Leon this race, so, you know, you have, it's funny, you have the last two runners on track, Williams and an AlphaTauri, and the two DNF, the Williams and AlphaTauri. Isn't that funny?
Disastrous session for both teams then, as Barney still hasn't pitted. So he's obviously banking on the safety car to bring him back into this race.
Reasonable. He wasn't really anywhere anyway. He was outside the points, so why not?
Only a second start. Nothing to lose, really. So, well, he's got all to gain, nothing to lose from staying out.
Yeah, exactly. Williams as well in that battle that we were talking about. 10 points for them the last two races. They've done very well, beating P6 last week after post-race penalties were released. 3.1 the gap is now, so Jack is losing a little bit himself. Has he started to waste the tires? Does he have to let Korsman pass to now go give the challenge? So far, answer is no. 3.1 the gap once again as we just continue to stroll around here. Jack a little wide right there, it looked like, in that corner. Didn't lose too much time from it. And, in fact, it must be mentioned on the season, Jack 4 podiums. First with Ferrari last week. Ferrari with their special livery won yesterday in Tier 2. Front row already. And could very well be taking a win tonight. Cam with a penalty.
So, Hans the 27's there with that lap. Jack the 27-1.
There you go. So Jack did make some mistakes. Just a matter of where he made those mistakes. The Chiller did catch up to the back of the pack, as I did mention. He is in DRS. He is charging, and he is onto lap fresher tires. However, is he close enough to make a lunge on Josh? No. However, Jack has backed up to get himself saved on battery, I noticed, and has Korsman in DRS. Ads has saved 8% of the battery since he's been out in the lead, and since we last saw him. Here we go in the background, the Chiller heating up Josh. Josh close to Korsman. Can't make a move, any of these guys. This is the only battle on track right now, and it's the battle to catch the race lead with ads on those medium tires. The rest of these guys, 2nd to 5th on hards. One last thing as well, with AlphaTauri not currently being in the points, and Alpine currently being 6th with TB, even with being 7th after penalties are applied. It will be P6 in the constructors for them. Leon Minor with a penalty, and Minico coming back for P6 after their little collision earlier on.
I'm sorry, I was dealing with something there. Was I asked a question?
No. Gap 2.8 now.
Okay.
26.9 on that lap. For Jack.
Yes, Jack is not gaining as quick as he wanted to. Obviously, he's done some what Hans has done, and used it all in the opening laps of his stint. And now he's struggling. Obviously, he used everything to try and gap Korsman. Didn't work, and Korsman's still there. And so is Josh, and so is Chiller. And they're all they're still catching technically, but very slow as Shanghai retires in the pit lane.
Double Williams retirement. Not good for them. Looks like they will maintain P8 though, where Cam runs right now. Ooh, it looked a little close. It looked like Korsman pulling out a little bit, just to kind of arc the corner. Barney on 22 lap hards. Hards usually go that long until they reach a puncture. Here's Minico and TB trading spots now. 2.9 for the lead.
Oh, and TB, is he coming back at him? No.
Not just yet. Yellow flags, that is for Shanghai's car. Barney, 23 laps now on the medium, or the hards. I am so surprised he doesn't have a puncture. I think we're more lucky that he doesn't. Those tires are very worn. Ads, the race leader with a penalty.
No, I told you he got the 2 warnings, and he's absolutely threw it away now. He's gone off the track again. He got 2 warnings about Darius. No! The Chiller's got
Darius as well. Oh my goodness. So Jack can now win this race if he stays within 3 seconds, but I'm sure he'd love to get it on track because he's got Korsman there to pounce.
Yeah, I think Jack might be the biggest Stewards Room RPL race winner ever. Obviously, if Jack wins this Grand Prix, he goes to 3 wins all time. He passes the greatest RPL race winner in the history, Zazi, and also me.
Zazi, a previous owner. Yourself, you took all 11 podiums that you had for Ferrari. You know, a
Tears
very
in my eyes as Ferrari win the game.
in RPL. Not as historic as Red Bull and Mercedes, more wins than them. Either way, here comes Korsman now for the net race lead, trying to take it over on Jack Miles. In the background, you got DeChiller having a peek now on Josh. DeChiller gets a little squirrely. Josh remains in P4.
And DeChiller needs to get a move on here because he's got that penalty. He wants to get past every one of these drivers. He's got the pace to push away, I think. He just got too confident, sat behind, and he got the warnings. He needs to get a move on now.
Arnie getting overtaken. Look at that. I mean, he's just losing so much. Wow. Ads off the track. Ads using track limits. Ads rejoining. He's going to lose time. 2.2.
He needs to be careful he doesn't get another penalty. That would certainly dampen his spirits going into the next season. Let me see how many ones is he on now. He's one more warning off another penalty. And I will be back in 5 minutes. So take it away, Rannoch, and you finish this season with a beautiful, beautiful commentation.
I hope you're back for the final lap. Here's DeChiller making a move up. Let's switch because why not? Either way, Barney still yet to pit. Barney again stays out. My goodness. 24 laps on those hards. Sorry, he has not reached the pit lane era yet. He's finally pitting. There we go. Jack Miles breezing past. Korsman breezing past Jack Miles. Oh! Bit of contact into the back of T.S. Korsman was Jack Miles in the background. You saw battling. Sorry, I was trying to get it off of the tires because everybody is now finally pitted. It looks like Barney is going for the soft tires. Reasonably so. Let's go back without the soft tires now. Chat, who will win this race? That is now becoming the question. We have just a couple laps remaining in the Tier 1 season. This track would have been race 200 of next season, but not going to be the case with a 26 race calendar. We'll go over the calendar later on at some point. Either way, here we go. 1.8 now the gap between Ads and Korsman. They're all going to battle behind that to try to take away Korsman's spot, but they can't battle too heavily because if they do, and the aggression level is going to continue to ramp up, if they do that, they're going to lose out to 3 seconds on Ads. Oh, defending in the background. Here we go. It is DeChiller and Josh side by side. Josh is going to remain ahead. DeChiller trying to have a look back pass. Can't do so. Korsman, though, has saved the battery over Jack and has taken second place, and he looks to keep it. In the background, Josh for the final podium spot with DeChiller. Side by side. Oh, they touch with the wheel-to-wheel combat. Oh, they still touch, but they keep it clean. DeChiller out in front for P4. Oh, Josh sliding the rears too. My goodness. There's 12 of you watching, and there's no better place to be on a Saturday night than either in the commentary box, in a race seat, or watching this RPL race alongside me. Maybe not in the booth, but in the spectator cam, because a lot of you are really about to enjoy this finish, whether it be on track, which Korsman's looking to take over Ads, or whether it be just based on these penalties. This is not good for Ads, as we've mentioned. Here comes Korsman, not in DRS yet. That is the last thing Jack Miles needs. He's using the battery. Here he comes. Here he comes. Not close enough. Luckily, he has his teammate Josh to put some challenge on DeChiller. Therefore, DeChiller doesn't ramp up on Jack to try to extend on that penalty marker. However, here comes Jack looking. Jack is looking. Can't make the move. He was gaining, but now they gain on ads. Oh, almost contact. It looked like a punted pass from Jack, but not enough to make the move. Those two collided in Las Vegas, and now this week in Abu Dhabi. No collision, but a little bit of contact. Minako looks up the inside. Revenge time for him to get past TB. He pitches him to the curb, and he gets the place.
I've returned for
contact
the
early
final
on.
lap of the Grand Prix.
The final lap of the season is underway. Here we go. Jack is close to Korsman, but not close enough for a move.
Korsman's going to get the DRS off the would-be race winner ads. So Jack's going to have to pull off an absolute masterclass of attacking driving to get the race win here. The Chiller, who's also got the penalty, not going to be in the contest. So it's a two-horse race now for the race lead.
5 cars in DRS of one another on the final lap of this race. The final lap of the season. Korsman wants to win on track. He's got the win right now. DRS, here he comes. Using all the battery. Inside line. That was a little dangerous, but keeps it clean. Side by side, wheel to wheel. Korsman almost going off the road, but to the lead. Jack Miles wants a chance on the last lap of the season to win a second race in a row. 3 cars about to go 3 wide. Ads takes back the top spot, but Jack takes it back on penalties. Jack around the outside, trying to hold on. Side by side, he causes Korsman to slide. Jack Miles into the net race lead on the final lap. The Chiller takes over P2. Yellow flags for the rest of the field, but here they come. The final sector, a couple of more corners to go in the season. Last week, it was in the steward's office. This week, it's on penalties. Jack Miles, 1 year last season, a second win last week, a third win, and all of them have come under the lights. Jack Miles does it! Jack Miles victorious in Abu Dhabi, the last race of the season for the second season in a row.
Oh,
It's Korsman, Josh, Ads, the Chiller, TB chases after Minako. It's Minako P6 and TB P8, but they are going to tie with AlphaTauri in the constructor standings for P6. It's a matter of who gets the tiebreaker now with Cam, then Redfire, your last runners across the line.
Tell you right now who's going to take the constructors for that between those two, as I will load up the database.
AMS Knights comes across the line, picks up a 3-second time penalty. 1 race this season on the Tier 1 season. It's P11 for him. Nicely done. Mali comes across the line as well. He took a podium earlier than the season in Saudi Arabia. Gonna finish strongly. Lennon, yellow flags for him. He's out of fuel. So is Mali.
Will win if they are equal on points. They have P5 twice, whereas AlphaTauri best result P6. So TB securing Alpine's position in the constructor standings.
Donuts. Leon Miner's gonna do donuts. Is he or is he not?
He's doing,
Last car to cross the
in
line.
fuel.
Yeah, he's got no fuel. He wants to do them. He wants to do them. Fair enough. Leon Miner, the last runner across the line this season. And that is it for Season 9, F1 season. Now on to Season 10. Driver of the day. Who are we going to give that to?
The man floating in midair.
I gave it to Jack Miles last week. It is fair to say he put on a good performance this week. Nice podium emote, Jack.
The man who is flying.
That's worth a screenshot for the Insta and Twitter. It's between Jack and Minako. I'm probably going to go Jack, though. Minako made a good drive back through the field after getting spun. He was almost plumb last. So, I'm going to go with either Jack or Minako. Doesn't matter which one to me. Probably Jack, though, because he won the race. But either way, both good drives. Redfire deserves a shout-out, too, for McLaren. Here are the final results on the season. Jack Miles, Korsman, Josh, the podium. Josh with another podium on the season. This one for Ferrari. Korsman with another podium on the season. This one for McLaren. 2.46. Interesting.
Arnie
And your other
actually
runners.
still maintained
Chiller.
P12 even with pitting at the end. And then he pit.
Wow. Yeah, he did. Fastest lap. Lap 25?
Oh,
One on the
25, yeah.
softs. Stole the fastest lap away from someone else.
Would have been odds. That fast at that point.
Would have been ads. Hey, it's still part of the Mercedes Academy. Final rundown on the season. Oh, and I must say, Jack Miles, a second race win on the season. All of them have come under the lights. It's very well to see. What a last lap we had for the season. It must be said, he deserved the win. He did everything right. Adds a penalty to him that affected him. Just drove a really great race in terms of pace, just not, in terms of racecraft, consistency, all that cool stuff. But we're in for a good next season with 26 races upon us.
Yes, I'm very excited. Remember, Christopher will be in the McLaren as well. Him and T.S. Corsman is going to be a... Is he? I think he's still in the McLaren. It's going to be an absolute phenomenal lineup. So I think, yes, we're going to have a five-team battle, with the Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes. Four-car battle then, sorry. The Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and the McLarens. Yes, Jack and Josh, obviously going to be, I'd say, the most consistent teammate partnership. And you've got the Chiller and Cookie. Cookie could well be one of the quickest we'll see next season. Who's going to win the championship? We'll never know. It could be Jack, could be Josh, could be Cookie, could be the Chiller for maybe number 2. Christopher will also be fighting for number 3. His Corso can get number 1. And Mr. Az, could he potentially, with the pace he showed today, and obviously a little bit of luck with the virtual safety car, can he fight for a championship next season with the elongated championship with 26 races?
Yeah, I think Ads is in a Aston Martin next season,
I lied.
but he's outperformed that car, so maybe some podiums
Yes,
instead.
I forgot. Yes,
Should be
sorry.
interesting.
Luke is in the Mercedes.
Luke in the Mercedes,
with,
TB in the Mercedes. Yeah, there's
Luke and TB,
so much things to look forward to. Yeah, I mean, I get why it's easy to forget. It'll be easy to forget a lot of races next season. 26 races, tons to look forward to. 13 Tier 2 races, and F2 with their final ever race will resume next week. We didn't get that done today, so that will be done next week from the looks of things, unless things change otherwise. For those of you still tuning in the stream, tune in next week and next season. Season 10 for F1, Season 11 for Tier 2. Those events, Brazil and next week at Bahrain, both season openers for RPL, F1, and RPL Tier 2. We shall see what happens in Season 10, double digits for RPL F1. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. 0-37 alongside. We are signing off tonight. And until next time, have a good night. We will see you then for next season, where things will ramp up. We shall see who becomes the champion of RPL Season 10. Good night.
Goodbye.